The MCU. Iron Man. Thor. Thor's brother. Iron Man's boyfriend. Iron Man's other boyfriend. Girl. Iron Man's third boy. Hello everyone, welcome to the classroom, and thank you for joining us as always. The MCU may be fast approaching a full-scale reboot, and honestly, I'm here for it. So here are however many reasons to reboot the MCU.
Where's my dad?
When I was learning to drive at about 14 or 15, I would drive my dad and I to the movie theater across town for practice and to catch absolutely every superhero movie coming out, but most importantly, the MCU. For a brief time, Marvel Studios threw formula-made heat at movie theaters 2 to 3 times a year. They even did some pitching in the minor leagues for a couple perfect games. The baseball references are for all the dads still watching. But when their shoulders started to go, they couldn't pitch the fastballs anymore and had to go for knuckles, change-ups, and curveballs. When the MCU started, what made it so appealing for people like my dad was that it gave you a lot of the awesome stuff about comics without giving you homework. My dad has like a job where he has to wear a suit and look at numbers, so I don't think he has the time or care to look at a dark multiverse map just to read some mediocre comics. But you know what he can do? You know what every dad can do? Sit around for 5 more minutes to watch a post-credit scene. I mean, they're dads, they could even like squeeze a nap in. And those 5 minutes had big returns. You see Iron Man 1, post-credit scene is Nick Fury. Iron Man 2 is the next actual MCU project, and Nick Fury is all over that movie. For better or for worse. Iron Man 2's post-credits then has Thor's famous hammer, Mjolnir, stuck in the desert, and so the next MCU project was Thor. I think that this is the only way to actually do a post-credit scene. It's simple, it's effective, and the dads love it. Very quickly though, this simple, fun way to weave the films together became entirely too much. The Phase 1 version of the post-credit scene, or PCS for short, was in my opinion the best one, frankly the only thing Phase 1 does best. With only about 6 or so hours of movies a year, the MCU was a very low investment way to get the feeling of reading comic books, either again or for the first time ever. Reading takes way longer and isn't as easy as just sitting back and watching something, and that's besides the extra time of figuring out what you want to read, what you need to read, what ties into what, and where to buy it all. But now, Adam Warlock teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to be finally introduced in Guardians 3. That means we had to wait 6 years through 15 films, 13 shows, 2 specials, over 40 hours of movie, and too many hours of 6-episode 20 to 40 minute action-adventure series to count. And this was one of the post-credit scenes that actually paid off. Let's look at another PCS, or PP for short. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Matt Gargan, played by Michael Mando, approaches an imprisoned Vulture and a team-up is teased, kinda, sorta. Now I know why we haven't seen Vulture in the MCU again.
Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
But no Scorpion. Spider-Man Far From Home wouldn't be out for another couple of years, so there's no reason why he couldn't have shown up as a brief villain at least. And now with Spider-Man's first MCU trilogy having concluded, the soonest we could see him in another MCU Spidey project is maybe 2025, and the general public doesn't want to wait 8 years to see a teaser pay off. And after 8 more years, I mean, who even knows if we could put this Scorpion in the MCU? I mean, he could just be dead. It's been over 15 years since the MCU began. For some of these actors, that is over a decade of near constant dieting, exercise, meetings, and bullshit interviews.
Or that you came out of prison not being a liberal.
Are we promoting a movie?
And despite the literal endless amounts of money that are poured at preventing exactly this, you can definitely tell that it's been a few years since the Avengers Initiative. They even teased this by having Chris Evans play Joe Biden. With every new MCU project, and especially since Spider-Man No Way Home, people have been speculating on how they could reintroduce characters like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers if they wanted to. There's tons of precedent for it in the comics. For Steve, you can do flashbacks, and for Tony, you can give him the hologram head or something. All you've got to do is figure out the wrinkles. And seemingly in anticipation of this exact problem, Marvel has gotten really good at de-aging people. They've gone from looking like freakish plastic ghouls to, like, just a regular face, but it's still very impressive. But acting isn't just how your face looks and how the muscles under it move. The smallest mannerisms and deliveries build what become the performances that we remember for generations. And when someone ages, they don't just get wrinkles, they talk, move, and even breathe differently. But once they get that fixed, we can go back to making some more Indiana Jones movies. As soon as they figure out how to keep actors from dying. And if you're thinking, well, we can just deepfake them if they're dead. Please go play in traffic so we can deepfake you saying you're sorry. The fact is that actors, no matter how beautiful they may be, are in fact mortal beings just like us. Meaning that eventually, if we want to see Iron Man again, we're just gonna need to recast. And the best way to do that is just a full-on reboot. But the unfortunate thing is that even if the slew of actors you catch for your cinematic universe are great, talented, and even immortal, they can still be Ezra Miller. Recently, Jonathan Majors has been in some hot water for being in Ant-Man 3, but he also might be awful. Accusations have come to light that the actor for Kang is belligerent and can even be abusive. Majors pled not guilty to charges of assault and harassment, and there's obviously a chance he could end up innocent in the court, but that doesn't matter. The court of public opinion is a much bigger threat for a corporation like Disney, and with the declining reviews of the MCU as a whole, they were most likely banking heavily on having another Thanos-level villain to drive their next phases. But now, due to no fault of any of the writing team behind these projects, that creative vision is now in jeopardy. No matter how evil you make a villain in your comic book, they're never ever gonna escape the pages to attack you like fucking Doodle Bob. Those last 2 points obviously apply more to all movies than just the MCU, but it's one of the biggest reasons why these movies have never felt quite the same as comics to me. But the next one is even bigger. This is probably the most simple of all the reasons, and is what any Marvel fan has wanted from the start, but here we go. Around the turn of the century, Marvel needed cash fast, and back then they couldn't just invent a new Iron Man armor for a scene and make a few billion from toy sales. So they sold off the rights to their most iconic characters and franchises, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, Spider-Man, even smaller characters like Blade. Now they finally almost have the rights to all of that back, right when the MCU is probably at the weakest it's ever been. How fun. When I was a young boy, some of the most fun I ever had was setting up all of my action figures together and having them all fight, which obviously makes me really unique. And one of the best parts was getting to see the Hulk and Obi-Wan Kenobi tag teaming like Groudon. And while I don't think that will happen, it would just be so fun to get to see the X-Men, the Avengers, and all of these different corners of the Marvel Universe under one roof at the same time. And for our final reason, the only one that any corporation needs really. DC has been steadily rebooting their comics universe time and time again since Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. Every couple decades, the continuity starts getting way too muddled, the timeline doesn't make sense anymore, old readers have left, and new ones are scared to come on. So they ring the big bell I presume they have at the DC offices, write a universe-changing event, throw a massive rager, and come Monday morning they're writing the new Batman #1. You know why? It makes money. New readers have a clear jumping on point, old readers are excited to see what changes they make or ready to hate them, and you get to say goodbye to all that old baggage. And while I have loved the MCU, Guardians 3 being one of my favorite superhero moving pictures ever made, there's a whole whole lot of baggage now. The MCU was one of the coolest things ever growing up as a teenager who really wanted to get into comics. But the best stories end, and there are a lot of reasons to do that right now.
Assemble.
How many reasons was that? Was that like 5? I think that's good, honestly. Folks, thank you so much for watching, but that is the video for this week. I hope to see y'all next time. Have a good one. Goodbye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching that video. If you made it to this point, a special double thank you as always. Thank you so much. Yeah, there was I think a month or so ago, some rumors about an MCU reboot, and I would like to see it. I'm kind of I've got my comics and the MCU movies that already came out that I really like, so I'm kind of indifferent, honestly. If they want to change it, I'm here for it. If they keep doing this, I'll still watch the ones that I want to, so. But what I have to show off for my collection this week is very cool. This is something that I bought myself, actually. It is a little sitting Bakugo figure for my desk. It's from this thing called the Break Time collection from this one toy company. And they have all these My Hero ones where they're resting and sitting. So yeah, I have them on my desk. I prefer figures and stuff that are unique poses and stuff, kind of special looking. So yeah, I really like this one. But I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.